YouTubers and space detectives. Today we are looking at Curiosity Rover Sol 1286. Now this is a Gigapan put together by Todd. Really nice work by Todd here. And what he's done, he's got all the images from that day, or that Sol I should say, same thing, and stitched them all together in a nice Gigapan. There are other Gigapans done by other people, but in my opinion this is one of the better ones and one of the clearest. And this has already been colour corrected, and it's gone quite blue here, but that is the actual colour of the base of Mount Sharp. We've got a lot of sort of blues, sand and strata here, with the sort of the lighter brown sort of mounds and buttes at the bottom of Mount Sharp. And we also have the pyramid here, which I've covered before. There's the pyramid from a certain angle there. I've shown that from many angles. In fact, if you go on my channel, I've covered a lot of this stuff before, especially up here on Mount Sharp, where we have what I've called the Forbidden City. I called it the Forbidden City because it seems that NASA are forbidden to talk about it, which leaves it for researchers like myself and others to fill in the details for you, okay? We have the pyramid here, we have the giant dome, we have 3 domes in a row here, we have that pyramid there I just pointed out. There are multiple structures up here, but we're not concentrating on that today. If you want to see a lot of these things up here, I've done many videos on it, and if you go to my channel, there is a playlist called Mars Buildings and Structures, ArtAlienTV, and you'll see a lot. In fact, most of those structures have been covered in quite some detail. Domes, ziggurats, pyramids, all sorts of things. There are sphinxes, bunkers, obelisks, and all manner of structures. A lot of them are ruined, but some of them are still intact, like this dome here, and they're very large. Some of these pyramids and domes are 300 or 400 feet high, some of them very large indeed, and there are loads of them. There's another dome here, it's about 300 foot high. This one's about 300 or 400 feet, that's about 300 or 400 feet as well. Okay, there's another view of that pyramid there, the same one we're looking at today. And there's multiple views of these things as the rover moved around the mountain over the last few years. It's moved along the bottom of the mountain and gone round and taken hundreds of thousands of photographs of this mountain over the mission period since 2012. So there are so many, I couldn't tell you how many there are. But today what I'm going to concentrate on mainly is what is below. Now, if you follow the link below to this image composite by Todd here, this Gigapan, if you look at along to the end of the Forbidden City, we've got the pyramid here. You can see the point there quite clearly with the angle. It may well be a ziggurat, but it's a kind of structure. And you follow that straight down, go directly below it, and we have this thing here. It's almost perfectly below it. You might want to move to the left a bit, and we have this thing. Now, I don't know what this is, but it looks like a shipwreck or something similar in shape that is wrecked, ruined, or whatever you want to call it. And we have a spine-like structure, a long spine-like structure it starts over here, goes all the way along here, and sort of curves down to about there. There are many other similar what look to be shipwrecks or similar structures along this ridgeline here at the bottom of Mount Sharp that goes all the way along here. There's all sorts of strange structures and what look like shipwrecks. I've covered many of those before. What I'll do, I will put a link to my shipwreck, Mars Shipwrecks playlist as well in the description. And what I'll also do is link up to it at the end of this video, so you can click on the various playlists. I'll put a link to this one here, Mars Buildings and Structures, and then also be a link to the Shipwrecks playlist as well. And you can then flick through some of that stuff, because I've covered most of this stuff before in previous years. But this is something I came across a while ago, and I sort of forgot about it, and here it is. You've got to navigate from the pyramid straight down, and it's there, okay? Now, it doesn't look particularly clear here, but you can see, without doing anything to this, that there is a spine-like structure with lots of upright parts. I'm not saying it is a spine. I'm just saying it looks like a structure that resembles a spine. In other words, it has interlocking parts to it. Now, it doesn't look very clear on here, so I'm going to show you the clip I've got, or the clips I've got in my folder. Right, so first of all, I'll show you this one. This is from further back. That's a straight clip, nothing done to that, just been enlarged. And you can see the structure here. That's straight from that Gigapan. So I expect the Gigapan was color corrected anyway, and I had contrast added. So the Gigapan is already enhanced to a point, but it's only very basic enhancements. In other words, it's been color corrected by taking away the orange filter, and then probably contrast added. So it's got that sort of blue color. We've got this blue strata here and blue sand down here. So there it is there, okay? You can't zoom in that far on the actual Gigapan itself. I'll show you. That's as far as it will let you go. But that's close enough, because often if you get too close to these things, they don't look better, they look worse, okay? So that's as far as it will zoom in. So what I did is I took a clip, and then I'll show you them in sequence here. Let's go to that one there, where I've really kind of clipped it much closer, and what I've done is I've color corrected it a bit more to get rid of this brown up here, and it's gone a bit pale and blue. But you can see this weird looking structure here where we've got joining parts, and it almost looks like there's a structure running through the center of this here, and you've got these rather strange parts joined together all in a row with a kind of squarish part to it there. Now, do I have a better close-up of that? Let's go to number 3. This hasn't been color corrected again. This is still very brown. You may find that clearer on your screen, depending on your settings. But we've got this really odd structure, and we've got the kind of squarish part here. It curves down here, and we've got these kind of spine-like parts to it. Now, could it be a spine? I don't think so. It's way too big. This is hundreds of feet long. I don't know exactly how long it is, but judging by some of the scale maps that I've seen of this area, this is probably something like 400 feet from here, where my cursor is, my pointer to here. It's about 400 feet long, give or take. I don't know exactly. But interestingly, what we also have here, which I didn't really notice until I was brightening up this and sharpening this part of the image here, there seems to be a car right here. Now, let's go to the raw image, and we'll come back to that. Let's actually go to the Gigapan, actually. There's the spine-shaped, or spine-like structure. It's not a spine, but it's spine-like here. So it starts here and goes to about here, but there are other things around it as well, which don't seem to be joined, but maybe. But it seems to start here and go to there. Just here, you can see the car. I don't know if you can see that. I put it in the middle of the screen. You've got a wheel there, and a curved top to it. You've got a dark part there, which looks like a windscreen. And the front of the car's here, the bonnet. And then the back of the car's here. And it's kind of curved. And you've got a wheel and a wheel. All right? So I've done nothing to that. It's there in the image, okay? I haven't added that. This is on the Gigapan. Not one I've done. This is done by Todd. So I haven't added anything to that. That's just there. Okay. So that was odd. And it's really quite small, but the problem is this is quite a long way off. The photograph was taken from probably a couple of miles away on Sol 1286, which would have been a few years back now. And in fact, what I've got up here, I've got the actual raw image from the NASA website here. Is the raw image is from the Curiosity Rover website. And this is the one we want, the one with the pyramid at the top there. You can scroll down and you can see the spine-like shipwreck or whatever it is here. And the little car thing is just there, but because it's so bleached out, this image, and it's got the orange filter on it, you can't see it until you add contrast to the image. So you need to download the image, put it in your software, Colour correct it a bit. What I do, I'll show you what I do actually. I'll show you how I enlarge them. Before I study them, what I do is I go to size and then go to inches in the resolution, and it says 200. I put a 0 in there, right? And I generally make them about 3 times the size. It's around 1,000 pixels at the moment wide. So I'll go to 3,000 wide. So that's approximately 3 times the size. And what that does, when you zoom in, it looks a little bit smooth, but that's better than having it all breaking up and pixelating, okay? And then what I do, I go to adjust. Now you should have something like this in your own software. I often will use something like automatic color balance, right? And then have it set near sunlight, but not right on sunlight. I have it usually about there. Now you should have something similar. That's the color temperature. What that does is adds blues back into the image and removes a lot of this orangey brown filter, okay? The color filter. There we are, and now what you've got is better separation between the different layers. The blues are coming out more and the browns are set back a bit. And then what I do, add a lot of contrast straight away. Minus 25 brightness, plus 25 contrast. There we are. And then it really pops out. Sometimes I do that twice, but then it can go very grungy. Then often what I do is I just add a load of brightness then. Let's go to plus 15, plus 15. And so that's kind of what I do. And you can play around with the contrast until these things pop out. And you can see this spine-like structure here, all in a long line. And that car thing is just there, okay? You can just about make it out. But it's a long way off. This is a couple of miles away. And what the rover camera has done is zoomed right in to the lower slopes of Black Mount Sharp here and the mountain. And none of it's really in focus. This is done like a landscape. It's probably in a sort of landscape infinity focus mode. Now what that means is that nothing is in focus, but nothing's totally out of focus either. Everything's in the same sort of level of focus, okay? So when you look at something up here, it's just as fuzzy as when you look at something down here, okay? Even though this is probably a mile closer, these pile of rocks here are a mile closer than that top of the mountain, right? So it's a good mile between the bottom and the top of the image, right? And the rover is probably a mile further back from this and has zoomed in to look at the area, okay? This is why these images look fuzzy, is because they're taken from a long way off often, and they're on infinity focus setting, which means nothing is in focus. If it was focusing on one part of the image, say the center part here, that would be sharper and more defined, but the rest of the image would all be very much more blurred. So you actually lose some information in other parts of the image. This is why they use that setting on the camera, because it's really designed for taking panoramics and shots of the scenery. When they want something up close, they will either drive up to it or zoom in and use one of the different cameras, perhaps like the Malicam or whatever, and get close up, sharp, detailed images. And sometimes they use some of the other science cameras as well to get close up. So this is why these look out of focus, but I'm babbling now, going on about technical details. I've got some other clips of the stuff on the mountain here. These are just straight clips from the Gigapan. Now I've shown these in previous videos. I'll quickly click through some of these. You've got incredibly strange looking domes sticking up. This thing's massive, this one here, on top of the mountain. And you've got the pyramid stroke ziggurat that I showed on Ancient Aliens and stuff like that, and various other TV shows. There's that one there. That's the ziggurat there, partially collapsed on the side. We have a spine-like structure here. Some of it's pretty messy. I appreciate that, but look at this stuff here. It looks way too technical and too symmetrical, a lot of it, and you can actually see parts interlocking like spine parts here. And what looks like a car here. You've got a wheel here, where my cursor is, another one there. You've got the windscreen there at the front. Now it may not be a car, it may just be a structure like a little dome or a ruined structure that happens to look like a car from this angle, where we have different rocks or whatever, or different parts of the ruined structure that just look a bit like that. I think it's more likely that this is actually a structure, but it happens to be car-shaped from this angle. Okay, let's get the closer one. This isn't quite as dark. This has been brightened a bit more, and you can see it a little bit more clearly now. If I zoom in for you, but you can look at these structures here. Look at that. It's all interlocking, and it's got like a long, straight kind of pipe-like part going through the middle here, almost as if this is some kind of metallic structure. And this is quite reflective and much brighter than most of the surrounding strata. But the car, if that's what it is, I'm not saying it is a car, you've got the front of the car, it's quite reflective here. You've got like a wheel there and a wheel there. I mean, unfortunately, this is a long way off, and the car may be full size, if it is a car, or that structure. I mean, if this is say this is, let's say that's 400 feet long. How long is this? How many times will that fit into that? Probably about 20 times. So if this is a car, it's very large. Yeah, if we say that's 400 feet, if it's 10, that would be 40 foot. This is about 20 foot long, 20 or 30 feet long, this thing. That's big, okay? But it probably isn't a car. And we've got this strange circular thing here, which is really bright. So there's some weird stuff in this area. And if you look on the Gigapan, you can see it all for yourself. You don't actually even need to take clips, really. You can see these things. You just need to concentrate and look slowly and carefully at these things. There's that car thing there. You can't really zoom in any further than that, but you can see it there. It's there. Here's the spine-like shipwreck, whatever it is. But if you look carefully along here, along this ridge line, there's loads of weird things, and I have covered many of these things before. There's loads of these weird, bright-looking parts here. And I'm sure some of this has been obfuscated by the people at JPL and NASA, because I have shown dozens and dozens of what look like shipwrecks along here. One of my favourites is this one here, and I've done a number of videos on that. There'll be links to those videos at the end of this one, so you can click on the cards at the end. This looks like a shipwreck. You've got upright parts, you've got parts joined to it here, and it's also highly reflective. And there's the Forbidden City. So I'll leave this for a lot of you researchers and viewers to check out yourself. You can follow the links below in the description and check out this Gigapan, one of my favourites of all time, this one. Not only have you got what look like shipwrecks along the bottom of this lake bed here, we've got the Forbidden City up here with domes, ziggurats and towers and all sorts of ruined structures, pyramids and all sorts. And then down here we got what looks like another shipwreck type structure. It may not be a shipwreck. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it could be. But look at it, even in this image, you can see that spine-like structure to it. And all you have to do is take an image clip and then whack a load of contrast in there, and this will pop out and you'll be able to see these structures a lot more clearly. But failing that, just check out the images I'm going to show you in a minute, and they will show them at the end of the video, and you can take image clips or whatever as well. So let's have another look at that. Yeah, I mean, look at these bits here, and you've got these kind of curves here as well. What is all that about? So, answers on a postcard as usual, people. Leave a comment below. Is it a shipwreck? Is it some kind of ruined structure like a building? Was it a kind of ancient dock wall or something that's dilapidated and broken down and eroded? Could this be the edge of the dock area? Is that a car, or is it just a structure that looks a bit like a car from this angle? It may well be joined to this whole part here by the looks of it. So that could be an optical rock illusion. So who knows? Thanks for watching, everybody. Clips coming up now.